Senhoras e senhores, bom dia a todos. Buenos dias, good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for attending this event. I'd like to thank Ms. Francisca Escolar and Maura from the Dominican Republic, which are members of the Executive Board. They are here to share their experiences between the countries in the Americas, focusing on vocational studies. We want to share everyone's experience in this forum. Would you be so kind as to show the next slide, please? Next one. The next one, please. I understand it is important for you to choose the right language according to your needs. We have here at the bottom of the screen the choice of languages. We have two interpreters for Spanish, Mr. Alejo, and for English, Mr. Mauricio Noguera. So please click on the globe that you find on the bottom and choose the language of your preference. We have today the honor of having Professor Osvaldo Luis Padova, who has a brilliant career in the education field. He is a reference for many professionals in the area. He was a Senai student, and also he has experience in Senai. He has all the qualifications as instructor, professor, coordinator, and director of several schools. Today, he is the director of our school, which is a reference for Industry 4.0. He's going to talk about new technologies, new professions, focusing on the Industry 4.0. I hope you all enjoy his presentation. This is a course that we started this year, focusing on new professions. Next month, we are going to have our focus on cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. Again, I'd like to highlight Professor Padovan's experience. This has been strategic for Senai, especially for Senai São Paulo. I'd like to thank Professor Osvaldo Padova for his contribution and for his presentation. Now I pass the floor on to you, Professor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Espada. We have to, or I have to call you Master instead of the opposite, because you are a reference. There's always people who inspire us to be better than what we have been. Professor Espada, you are this person that always inspired me to be better every day. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you enjoy my presentation. I'm going to cover this new scenario that the world lives regarding Industry 4.0 and the digital world. The idea is to share our knowledge. We are not holders of the main points or the holders of knowledge. We just want to show you our view about this new world. We are all constantly learning about things that surrounds us. I cannot see the presentation. Well, Next slide, please. Very good. When we talk about the evolution of Industry 4.0, of course, you probably know what we're living right now, the transformations we're going through right now, because this has been widely discussed from the first industrial revolution, 1784, to the fourth, which is made up by two big technologies, artificial intelligence and big data. For me, these four revolutions that the world experienced, for us, perhaps the fourth one is the most significant. It has its own specific features. I didn't live the other three industrial revolutions, and we are living this one right now. Perhaps this is the greatest challenge that we are facing. We look at it as what is going on with us today in terms of changing our configurations. This fourth industrial revolution is very wide. It deals with our relations to our society and very important aspects. This industrial revolution has brought us some significant learnings. And sometimes it is difficult to imagine that we are undergoing such tremendous changes. The habilitating technologies, as were defined back then, 2011, 2012, these are the platforms that you see here, IoT platforms, detection technologies, location, the things related to advanced human-machine interface, also authentication, fraud detection, 3D printing, smart sensors, big data analytics, advanced algorithms, multi-level, and the profile of this new client, augmented reality, within the area of wearables, cloud computing, and finally mobile devices. These technologies, or enabling technologies, were defined back then in 2016 or 16 as the technologies that would enable the Industrial Revolution 4.0. During this period, the digital business models have already changed. The digitizing and the offer of products due to the pandemic that we went through in the past 2 years also contributed to this change, and the acceleration of the digital transformation, at least in case of Brazil, has been very important. We have seen a situation in which digitalization and big data have been really transforming. The ability that we have of transforming digitally our products and services were radically changed during pandemic. Some of the technologies that we see here are still very attractive, especially as a possibility of having some significant and important developments in manufacturing. In the case, for example, 3D printing needs further exploring. It needs more time to get mature so that we have a systemic vision, or at least a wider and holistic view of what they are offering today. However, when we talk about transformation, when we talk about industrial revolution, and we mean here revolutions, there is a pillar within this ecosystem, which are people. And here, when we talk about education, which is our field of expertise, what can be done about it? This question was raised around 2011, 2012, with the introduction of the concept of Industry 4.0 and the widening of this concept in global terms. This question, what can be done about it, is around us consistently. What can we do about it, and how can we prepare this professional for the future? There are many ways, many examples that we can look at and follow. There are examples of universities that have changed all their format to present an education which is more pertinent to the times we're living. And Senai just followed suit. We sought concepts to work with and how to deal with these changes in this new world. What would be some key guidelines for the labor work in 2018? Michael's work was presented, and we got some learnings from these guidelines regarding the work world. Basically, he said, we have three basic guidelines. First one, organization, technology, and intelligence. And what is common in those three areas? In order to prepare our professionals better, we have to follow the guidelines that are present in the three dimensions. In terms of technological and humane aspects, what is the difference between people and machines? How are we going to work with this interface? Up to what point or how far should people be in order to have this world plausible? And also the world of intelligent systems. Interface is the key word. Some interesting questions arise. Perhaps I should have more ample job offers and look at work in a holistic way. We want to have the growth in a way that we can handle. Organization is also another key word. We work today around organic business organizations. We see this being used all over the world in companies. This interface brings these ways of doing things as solutions for the world we are living today. As to organization and technology, we have to look at self-regulations of autonomous systems. We also have to see and look at centralized intelligence and alternative ways of organization. This work has shown us some important guidelines for our day-to-day work. Michael also says that the changes in qualifications and job requirements would result from these interfaces, changes in the company or in the chain or the value chain have a big influence on the organizational dimension. We're talking here about changes in supply chain and productive chain. When we talk about this important changes, this is seen also in the organizational dimension, how we organize ourselves. When we talk about the proposal of having dimensions within our work, within productive chain that brings a collaborative economy and also bring about changes so that companies take advantage of these changes, including the inputs and production. Of course, when we think about a circular economy, we are changing the organization and the organizational dimension that companies are made of. And the decisions and responsibilities in companies would be distributed between people and machines. And here comes the question, what is the limit? We don't have the answer yet, but it is important to create comprehensive job profiles and tasks allowing for learning opportunities. This became very clear, especially this last point for us. If we have today comprehensive job profiles that are able to identify and have social emotional competencies of fast learning, this would probably the way to better succeed in preparing those professionals for the future. When we talk about what we're living today, we have the new student, also a new professional that will be using new technologies and also will be in this new world of work. Many times, due to our condition as educators, we insist and sometimes in a mistake, which is to press the student to go into the world of work without knowing exactly what the market needs. And these conditions are interconnected. And the way from the new professional to the market is a two-way road. We have to know exactly what this new student must have and what the job market expects from him or her. One of the most important things to look at is the change or the time of change I have to improve my skills. That is, what before was a rigid model, we had a serial model of apprenticeship. When we talk about vocational or technical schooling, or even higher school, we had a sequence of learnings that would take that students for a certain period of time, 2 to 6 years, depending on the level of the course the student is taking, so that he or she would become a professional. But the changes in the labor market were predictable. What do we see today? Today, we see changes in the job market, which would be geometrical on a daily basis. The technology is changing rapidly, and this brings completely different characteristics of the job market. If I don't look at it and do not have my professional and technology schools without changing, remaining the same, without changing my curriculum, I would be graduating people for the job market, which in their case would be completely changed or downgraded. How to change the situation in a way to have this professional graduated to be updated to the market requirement. The basic competencies that were presented in 2015 in the World Economic Forum, between them active learning, oral expression, reading comprehension, ICT literacy, which is absolutely important point. The personnel and people management, which we should look at. We have to manage our professional career just like a company, and also oral, reading, and written expression. These are very up-to-date thinking. I believe these basic competencies have not changed from 2015 when they were first expressed to today. They did not change and should not change. These competencies that are basic and essential, like the ones that were presented back in 2015 at the Socioeconomic Forum, for example, regarding cognitive skills and cognitive flexibility, led us to think about some syllabus, those that are in the areas of IT, informatics, or related fields. I know exactly what I mean. I can give the students the right skills. I can have students understand about electromechanics or electricity or fields or akin. We can have them learn basic skills for those areas, and also can have this student who will be a mechanic. I can have I myself studied mechanics. If we give those students conditions so that they develop their IT skills, they will be leaders in their areas. When we were studying this area, we asked ourselves, how about the reverse way? Can we have somebody who graduated in IT be able to develop the electronic skills and be able to have the skills in that area? Perhaps the way back is much harder than the other way. We are here talking about the cognitive flexibility, cognitive elements that you have within the learning of somebody who learned mechanics and others who went by the other field like IT. Do we have people that have IT skills with mechanics skills, like a scientist of data that must know a lot about TI. In order to analyze data, they will also need relevant and pertinent information regarding manufacturing in order to be able to analyze data. And this is a big challenge within the area of education. Creativity, logical reasoning, sensitivity to the problem, mathematical logic, visualization, and communication in other languages also made up the competencies which we call essential. Then comes the transversal functional competencies, for example, complex problem solving, financial management skills, material management skills, people management, time management, social skills of coordination with others, emotional intelligence, negotiation, persuasion, and so on. If we look at these competencies, both the basic ones, the essential ones, as well as the transversal competencies, we have a large and wide spectrum. If we have a professional with all these competencies, probably this professional will not earn a basic salary. If I have a worker with all these competencies, they will be for sure a entrepreneur or even owning a startup company. But the challenge to have the transversal competencies and at the same time give students all this knowledge is an enormous challenge, but a challenge that makes our eyes bright. When we talk about Industry 4.0 or fourth industrial revolution, there is an aspect that I'd like to share with you, at least for us here. We have seen that this new scenario that we live, the Industry 4.0, zero will not exist if there's no inclusion. And what do we mean by inclusion? Well, inclusion of young people who are entering the market today, those who are starting their student life, and then they will have an opportunity in the job market, the inclusion of people who are working and acting in the job market. They also need for building up their skills and competencies, and the inclusion of people who are outside the job market but need to work and act in the job market in order to reach objectives such as social transformation or even survival. If we do not adopt strategies to include all these people, we will probably have a scenario, perhaps not of a new job market. We would have surely an enormous amount of unemployed people. Well, what we have looked for are solutions to include people in this transformation. This is important, at least for us here, to have this holistic view and wide view of these inclusions. How are we going to bring this about? How are we going to do it according to the tools we have? First, we have to understand that we need to use modern concepts of training, more industry-based apprenticeship and knowledge transfer schemes, educational concepts and technological concepts that should take maximum 2 hours to be taught. If I have elements in my strategies and a new way of teaching, I can give these students a new way of learning. I can shorten this time of learning according to the concept needed for someone to work in a certain field. If we handle manufacturing just as a subject, manufacturing is a subject, some people would say. What we have previously, the previous idea was that manufacturing was a subject to be discussed. but it is not effective if somebody is just in the classroom. Theory is very important, of course. However, the theory and practice, that is, I have to provide more and more so that manufacturing be understood and be discussed. In theory, of course, we have theories about the types of manufacturing, the types of processes, how we created and how we got to the present manufacturing, what will be the manufacturing of the future, the new models of manufacturing. But also, I have to show the practical way so that the practical ways question theories and theories question practical ways. Of course, we have seen some disruption of the technologies and we should be prepared for it. Also, training has to be wide ranging. We need to be always updated. We need to focus on some questionings and have our fundamentals, but it needs to be wide so that we can deal with complex changes of the day-to-day life. New learning approaches are needed in order to have realistic changes. I have to create within my learning the possibility of students to learn to have this realistic way manufacturing works and theory connected to industry. I have to modernize my apprenticeship by approaching it to the professional level and leverage industrial practice through the adoption of new knowledge and manufacturing technology. That is, the integration of existing technologies. If I have these recommendations next to the way we act and think within professional education, we will probably have a professional education much closer to what companies need. And here, a little bit of what we do at our mechatronics school. We have also the Armando de Arruda Pereira Senai School. It is located in the municipality of São Caetano do Sul. It's been active for a long time, since its opening in 1952. This year, we are celebrating 70 years of existence in São Caetano do Sul, which is a municipality close to the city of São Paulo. In fact, it's part of the greater São Paulo area. It's a municipality of 15 square kilometers, and it's got a lot of technology centers. It is always in the vanguard in terms of technology. It is today considered one of the best places to live in Brazil. In 1952, it was firstly focused on ceramics. There are major industries in the region that needed professionals with skills in ceramics. So that was the main focus of the schools. But in the 70s, the decline of the ceramics industries and the migration of this industry to other municipalities made Senai to rethink about what technology changes should be implemented so that new technologies be implemented. In this modern look, people decided for some enabling technologies that would prepare for the future. In 1990, we understood that mechatronics would be the field of the future. And at the time, mechatronics in the world was dominated by Japan. At that time, Japan, by means of an entity called JICA, helped us to change the ceramic school into a mechatronics school. So then we created the first vocational school of mechatronics in Brazil. At the time, 115 or $15 million and was used at that time in order to change the profile of the school. We also trained personnel as well as professors. From 1990 until 1999, we signed a new agreement with JICA in the area of robotics welding. And we understood that back then in 1999, we should launch the higher technology school course in the area of digital manufacturing. So back then in 1990, we had the first school of higher education in mechatronics. First, it was a technical course, and after we upgraded to a full mechatronics high level. And these and after that, post-graduation courses. We wanted then to have those professionals who were technicians and also had their titles in this area to specialize and major in mechatronics. By 2009, we had another agreement, this time with friends, this time with Dassault Systems, so that we had this implementation of new service fronts. We wanted to have a digital manufacturing center established in the city of São Caetano do Sul. We signed an agreement with friends through a mediation of India, France, and Brazil. By doing that, we were able to create a product which was focused on digital manufacturing. And today, this product is exhibited in a museum in France. This was a plane, the first plane that crossed the channel between France and England. It was the first digital model that we did. We continued working in the area of mechatronics, and 2011, with the fourth industrial revolution and Industry 4.0, Senai understood that manufacturing would undergo new changes. Looking ahead, at that time, in 2012, we went after new partnerships to understand what the new perspectives would be and how to handle this. Back then, we decided to enlarge or expand our center. In 2017, we opened a new school with a new format, 15,000 square meters. It was a school that takes advantage of light. We reuse water. We also are guided by energy efficiency. The architecture, which was new at the time, had also changed. It was not only the architecture that was changed, it was implemented the first area of an entrepreneurship in the state of São Paulo. It was called EPO Lab. We understood that it was very important to Brazil to be active in the area of entrepreneurship regarding startups and spin-offs or spin-offs that would leverage our industries. In other words, to put ideas that were in the market, ideas from people. The first EPILAG area was established in order to be a hub to connect ideas, academia, and industry. Together with EPILAB, there was also a center of design which was integrated, and this integrated center gives us the general view of the productive chain as well as the market positioning. That is why it is called an integrated design center. It acts together with industries and together with our students to show how the design is important in our days, especially in this new market that we have and the new clients. And this new center was established together with the Senai Institute of Technology. We understand that this is a pillar within technology in Brazil. All this supported the ideas that we had in 2018. We worked together with the University of Wildau to align our courses and our curricula according to the new ideas. The Wildau provided us some new concepts, some new thoughts that were being used in Europe at that time. And we also opened the first open laboratory, which was the fruit of a collaborative work with different labs. This open lab had the assumption to have technologies available to industries, students, and professors, and also for those who wanted to to test this new technology within a manufacturing environment. In 2019, regarding digital transformation in the same area, we decided to work with Nokia in order to get to know a little bit more about the 5G technology. We also signed an agreement with BCG, the Boston Group. They have a global work to install sensors for operation, which is called ICO. And this brought us some new technology. Today, we have information and we share information using this global network. In 2020, a new agreement with Cisco and Schneider was signed. We thought it was important to have our assets safeguarded by cyber security models, and this would help our students to know how things could be done in a secure way. And by doing this, we went to a platform with AI, machine learning, and data analysis features. These are the pillars we act on: education, technology, and entrepreneurship. Education with our courses, technology with our institute, and entrepreneurship with our UpLab. This is an image of one of our labs, as you see here. The digital transformation allow us to have a better idea of the changes. These labs have an open field. We improved some courses that we had, for example, technical course in mechatronics. We have established higher courses, especially for system analysis and development, which involves information technology and automation technology, and also control and automation engineering. Postgraduate courses, which are flexible, but all guided towards advanced manufacturing of digital transformation. These are the courses that are the most flexible within the courses we offer. As to short-term courses, we include subjects which we consider important, at least for our job market in the region we are present. These are some other courses that we offer, and this is another view of our Open Lab 4.0. Just so that we understand how it works, to the right we see one manufacturing cell. This is an open lab, which was shown in different trade fairs here in São Paulo in 2017 to 2019. The conception was made all digitally. That is, we have created all digitally so that later on we would build it. No construction was made before having everything done digitally. This is our professional practice area. I believe we're experiencing some sound problems. The Open Lab 4.0 lab, it is a point of meeting between industry, science, and startups. The advanced manufacturing plant is in São Caetano, São Paulo. The companies are able to test new technologies and students learn in practical ways. This is done to leverage 4.0 industry in São Paulo. We have signed a partnership with Nokia. The lab now has this technology, which allows it to be the first tech lab in Brazil using this structure. These two antennas receive the signals coming from sensors in the plant, forming this integration system similar to a bubble. And this allows the integration between robots and offers managers mobility and controlling skills. That is, managers control everything from the factory from their mobiles. in order to have information about the plant in real time. The work plant has now all the gains from collaborative work by robots and AIs. Anyone outside the plant can operate it on a distance. It will also allow for 5G connection in the future via Nokia. Very good, Gustavo. This is a little bit of our plant that you have seen, and this is a result of the partnership we have with Nokia. Beside this plant, you have seen the visit of entrepreneurs visiting our plant. We have created, we have done congresses and to bring companies together and people from the market together to hear us and have a better understanding of the impacts that will take place in our market.
Uma situação onde que eu tenho uma planta.
Here I have, you see a plant, an open plant, which allows people to learn about this new technology and give a feedback to the learning methodologies with the input from these new technologies. This allows our professors to be up to date. We also want to listen to what business people need, what professional profiles they need. And we also open doors for students that are not part of SENAI to also know our structure. Events such as this, called Mundo SENAI, congregates students from all over to our school. Those who have not decided what they want to study, they will come and see these new technologies. Another strategy is to use current tools. This is an example with the hackathon we carried out together with Unisys. People came from all over Brazil, not only São Paulo, the city of São Paulo. And this hackathon gave them opportunity to learn more about cybersecurity with the support of Unisys, and also provide solutions to these young people, provide them solutions for companies. The SENAI Institute of Technology has experts in order to serve this industry. When an industry wants to know which way to follow, where they should go, we try to help them by means of positive actions that have been developed through technological projects and consultancy. Our UpLab is an environment for entrepreneurship. It's got three main areas. First of all, to provide an entrepreneurship environment for startups that want to learn more and have mentorship about different areas, an open innovation with startups, which is done by means of industries. We have worked with companies in this respect, and also entrepreneurship, which is a very important concept today for innovation within the industry. This is a little bit of our environment. A startup is the door which would be very difficult to open by ourselves. we need this partnership. We need mentors on an ongoing basis that Senai provides us. When you have the structure of Senai helping you, this gives companies more credibility for companies to handle their problems. The effect of being here in this ecosystem, the fact of being here in this system brings us this very important advantage. We were able to grow faster as a company, much more than if we had not had the help of Senai.
Muito bem. Quando eu falei sobre as empresas, né,
When I
as
talked about
empresas para a criação de
associations or partnerships with companies,
por exemplo,
these are
empresas que querem
three
desenvolver,
bids that
soluções
we
para
have
os problemas que eles têm.
in order to provide solutions. There we have a specific bids for people who have ideas so that they
As empresas, né?
include these new ideas to companies.
Ele atua, então, na
A little bit about
criação,
the
na
integrated
pesquisa,
design
no
centers.
design,
We act on training, search, engineering, design, and communication, basically.
E o que é desenvolvimento integrado,
What
né?
do we mean by an integrated development? This is a prototype of an electric vehicle. First of all, there is research and conceptualization of this vehicle. Then a three-dimensional modeling is devised. Then engineering validation, aesthetic finishing, and finally the test of this prototype. This is what we call an integrated development. And this includes training, services, and the development of ideas. That's what we call a journey of digital transformation. This is what we provide companies when they come to us, trying to understand the transformations that are ongoing. By doing this, they understand what Industry 4.0 is all about and are given a diagnosis. We set up a maturity diagnosis, which comprises a German tool called Toolbox, so that later on we can optimize processes, also use digitalization until we get to the intelligent industry. This is a format that we have created to help companies and towards the digital journey. Here are some more examples.
Alguns exemplos, né, de simulações de processos, de
Of
escaneamento.
process simulations and some reverse engineering and scanning that we use to help companies. This is how scanning is done in the industry. This process is simulated with digital tools. That is why we have our center of digital manufacturing. This provides companies to understand how these processes and models work. This also allows us to better understand where companies have to invest and where companies have to use technology to improve productivity. This is another solution presented to a company. This is replacing manual work. This is robotics, showing how changes can be made from manual work to robotic work. Again, a new scanning process. Here we see the digital manufacturing with the time of 7.5 hours using 3 people and 2 assembly machines. How many pieces can be produced within a certain period of time? In this simulation, we see a total of 108 pieces produced on an hourly basis. And here, in the improvement environment, the results that would occur by implementing this robotics in their industries. Here, the integration of different systems that collect the information within a company, allowing us to read those pieces of information that we allow companies to create. Here we have some examples of the results of the work that we have conducted so far and how much we have gone from the beginning to where we are today. Sebastian left the Guildhall University in Germany and is here with us at Senai Rio Grande do Sul. Imagine how pleased we are knowing that there are foreign students want to have internship at Senai. This is what we call collaborative work with students from other countries. Even if we're not able to go to other countries, we have other people coming.
He told me that there is Senai, that there are very good technical things. It's like to German standards, very brand new machines, and showing me some pictures, and I was pretty impressed and say, looks good, and go for it.
Trará benefícios para o Senai São Paulo e para
It will generate benefits for Senai São Paulo and for Brazilian industry. Well, the objective is to validate everything we're using. The visit of Professor Sunil Gupta to Senai São Caetano do Sul. He is a Harvard professor, well known all over the world, with experience in the professional area in subjects related to industrial or digital industry.
About should our education system change rather than putting students to 4 years of college. By the time they graduate, the world has changed. The retraining of the people, reskilling the people is extremely important. I think you're ahead of the curve in doing that.
Muito bem, ao próximo, Gustavo.
Next one, please. We're about to wrap up. Now, how to create this professional of the future? We can only have a professional of the future by having an integrated way of working. And this is done within a job market or academia or a company. We do that by having people from other countries that bring us new information and new technologies to help us in educating future students. These are some of our customers, and And by this, I wrap up my presentation. It's been 1 hour, so I kept my time. Well, we're now going to open for questions. I'd like to ask attendees to ask your questions using chat. We're going to have 10 minutes for the Q&A session. And if there are more questions, we're going to send Professor Padovan via email. So please, Gustavo, the name of the person, the country, and the question, please. Well, we have here a question from Manuel Cruz from Costa Rica. He's asking, how can we have leaders in our organization understand to synchronize humans, technology, and organizations? It seems that organizations go slowly or have a slower pace than humans and technology. Well, this is certainly a challenge for the digital transformation. When we talk about digital transformation, we have to see two pillars which are important. One of them is technology. The other one is the digital thinking. And of course, technology exists, is available to us, and the integration can be used at any single moment. However, to have people think differently has some, or has to face or faces barriers. One of the characteristics of this transformation is to persist, to have people understand that what you are proposing. Universities are a bit slower, for sure, to be, so to speak, more traditional in terms of learning. But these barriers have to be overcome, and we do that by means of examples about what we do on our day-to-day. In other words, to work a lot. We have another question from José Corleto. He did not mention the country he comes from, but he wants to know that when we have courses with transversal competences, and do you add more time for these new competences, or do you take some time out to include new conferences? Well, neither way. We do not add or take out. In terms of strategies of learning, we include these new competencies within your teaching. What's the way to do it? Well, I need students to self-evaluate whatever they are doing. This is a way to give them opportunities to get to know them better, to get to know them skills to self-criticize what they are doing. So this is our strategy. Mr. Padovan, I understand that this question from José Corleto is a wide-ranging question. I'd like to talk about courses that we are upgrading. Within them, the aerospatial courses. And in this respect, they work fully concentrated in this. They usually say that to err is serious, but to maintain the error is a crime. And this shows how important are social emotional skills. In this course, we are developing these aspects, a strategy in which they read books, they make presentations to professors and colleagues, and all of this outside of the foreseen and established curriculum, and a very important, universal teaching. I'll give you an example. It is very important that professors show in their behaviors and their attitude and the way they relate these competencies. And after a period of being together with professionals that practice the social emotional competencies, I am able to spread out the strategy to all of them. Well, we have another question here from Javier Escudero from Peru. He asked, can you comment anything about 4.0 industry in the automotive industry? Well, digital transformation has reached the automaker industry. It is present today. We see all cars have this connectivity, and they can make the most of this digital transformation. The change that we have from automotive mechanics in the training of a professional is very important. We will have professionals that will do this maintenance. They will not be specifically mechanics. They will have, or they will need to have other skills. I have another question from Hugo in Peru. It says, the course of engineering automation, they developed this course in the plant itself. We use our plant, which is an open lab. It is an automatized mechatronics course. We use this for using IT. At the end of the course, we have some other strategies, which is the creation of prototypes and solutions, what we call end of course tasks. This is part of the industry's needs. They tell us the problems they have, and the students discuss these problems, and they present, by the end of the course, the works related to solve their main problems. We have two questions that complement each other. One is from Luis Felipe from Chile, and the other one from Guillermo from El Salvador. One of them says, the professionals trained in this new 4.0 revolution industry is a student that needs to have knowledge in all areas in general, and also what will be the role of the worker? Will they be replaceable or replaced rather? There are some concepts related to basic knowledge, which we call a general knowledge, and also expert knowledge. In the world, they have the general knowledge and also structures which are called pillars of specialization. When you have these two areas within your teaching, we have and provide students an ample vision. The more vertical his teaching is, or her teaching is, they will be a better prepared professional. But knowledge is, a wide knowledge is really important. And the other question, Gustavo, the role of the worker, will they be replaced? Oh, Karen from Costa Rica was the one who asked the question, and Luis Felipe asked the question about the professional. Well, let's look at it this way. When revolution industries took place, some tasks were replaced, and today the same will happen. A task with major efforts and with bad conditions will surely be replaced and should be replaced. We need to have equipment to replace workers. I would not say that they will be replaced. They will be transformed. We have another question from Fred from Costa Rica. Is there a possibility to have professionals and professors who will be able to come and upgrade their knowledge? Yes, absolutely. We're available and with open arms to receive them. Other question, how can we use these changes in the textile industry? Well, here in São Paulo, we have a new open lab, which is geared at the textile industry. If you order a shirt in a personalized way, and this is done with robots. And we have a plant that is working this way. In the apparel industry will have one of the most significant transformations. And this, when we have clothes with chips that will be able to control temperature, to regulate our health, and to help us in general. So it is important that the industry be involved in all that. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank our translators, Mr. Alejo Magarinos from Spanish, and also Mauricio Nogueira into English, with special thanks to Ms. Elcir and Maura, that are part of the executive board and are responsible for education and make this webinar possible. And of course, our Master Osvaldo Luis Padova. I thank you really very, very much. I know it's not easy to convince leaders or persuade leaders, maybe because they did not have the experience of a professional change. I would like to invite them to take part in this webinar, including leaders from each one of the countries. We know that us, Latins, and the Africans, when the presidents and prime ministers are changed, some our leaders change the structure and solid way companies and institutions are done. We have to persevere because we know the result of our work is the socio-economic transformation. And here, a suggestion and a challenge. Please invite leaders from your institutions to share with us. The objective here is to share. It is impossible to do it all ourselves. We have to work in a collaborative way. Please invite your leaders to be here so that they can experience these moments. Perhaps by doing this, we can help them reflect about the process and support all educators in upgrading their education structure. So, Professor Osvaldo Padova, thank you very much for your contribution and knowledge. We had attendees from 27 countries that are part of World Skills. I'm sure that this will help the future of professionals as well as educators. So thank you very much, everybody who attended here. Next month, we'll be working to have another colleague who will share his experience in artificial intelligence and digital security or cyber security. It is very important to have these new vision so that together we can build something solid. Education does not have a flag. We have to work together to build a more fair society. Thank you very much, Professor Oswaldo Luiz Padovan. Thank you, Rodrigo, for the technical support. Thank you very much, each and every one of you.